744, welcome back as we do Watch Your Money here on 4. And the month of April is Financial Literacy Month. There's a lot going on here from the economy, how to save money, what does it mean to invest, what's a 401k, a lot of questions here. So this morning we've got certified financial planner Derek Williams in to walk us through many of the things about which you hear often, Derek, and we talk about, but we don't really explain what it means for people who may be trying to get a better financial outlook, but might feel a bit daunted by the task.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because people hear, I need to invest in stocks, bonds,
Right.
CDs, how do I do this?
Right.
So
What's taxed, what's not taxed? It's a lot.
yeah, no, it's a lot. So let's start at the beginning. 401k, which is probably the most, popular, or 403b if, you're a teacher or government employee. So you're putting some of your income up in this retirement plan that's, going to grow for you, long term. So, if you made, 50,000 last year and you put 5,000 in your 401k, the government instead is going to see 45,000 and you're going to pay tax on that later. And then what we also see is a Roth IRA. You're putting that money in after tax and it's going to grow for you tax free. So, when you turn, 60, 65, later in retirement, you can pull that money out, tax free. And then you also have the taxable element where you can, also put, money into, stocks and bonds. But then you're going to pay capital gains on those. But the nice thing with, a taxable account is you have access to that money without a penalty, because the one caveat with 401ks and IRAs is if you touch that money before 59 and a half, you're going to get a 10% penalty, potentially other, tax situations. So these IRAs are meant for you to, put it away and not touch it, for your lifetime. But in order to have some more flexibility, you can do that, with the taxable account.
That's the very thing. I was listening to you walk me through the difference here, and I'm hearing IRA, I'm hearing Roth IRA, I'm hearing taxable this. And if, say, I'm a newcomer here, it's also daunting. So
Yeah,
say, for instance, the average Joe making about maybe $65,000, $70,000 a year, family of 4 working to establish what those normal parameters are. Looking at these examples, is there one sure bet that I should be investing in?
I mean, absolutely 401k, because then it's, out of sight, out of mind, and it kind of helps you budget. Because, if you're making the 70,000 and you're, let's call your take home check, after, paying your insurances is, 2,100, you can put 50 of it away and you never even see it. Definitely the 401k is a great spot. The example that you use, with kids, you've got, all sorts of expenses. The taxable account is another, great way to save, because you can put money, in some CDs and stuff that are safe to where, if you need, house improvements, have, money for, daycare or other things, coming online for your kids, as well as just other emergency expenses, you have the access, to tap that. So certainly the 401k, because a lot of companies and, plans are going to offer you, the match of, maybe if you put in 3%, they're going to match you 3. But, the taxable account is also a great one, because then you have flexibility to take that money out if needed in the next 6 months or however quick you might need it.
Got less than 30 seconds left, but what I do appreciate about you and in getting this conversation started, I didn't realize this, but if you're trying to save some money, you've got some questions, can call you to fill you in. Call a certified financial planner. They can't help you, and you don't need a lot of money to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Someone like myself, I'm always happy to have a conversation, even if it's a, 10 to, 30-minute conversation of like, hey, I've got a little bit of money, what do I do? Before you start making some of these decisions, definitely talk to, a certified financial planner or even a CPA to see how, some of these situations might, change your taxes. So.
All right. Derek Williams, always appreciate your insight. Good sir, always good to see you too.